It is said that an athlete dies twice. Once when he retires from his sport, and the other when his heart stops beating. In college, I won the award of most likely to swim at the age of 9. I was obsessed with swimming. Being an introvert, swimming was my favorite excuse to not go to parties. But in the pool, I became more extroverted than the extroverts. I wanted to go to the Olympics and stand on top of the podium. I worked hard to achieve my goal. Now I know that even though I was committed, I didn't give it my all. I realized that although I was obsessed, there were swimmers much more obsessed than me. Winning was one of the most important things to me in swimming, but not the most important. It showed in the way I trained, competed, and had fun in the water. That's why my teammates knew that I would never retire, until I did. Takashi Hayashi was 86 when this video was shot. He began breaking world records in master swimming at the age of 70. He has broken 13 world records. Since I saw this video, I couldn't stop thinking about two things. First, his lat muscle, and second, how did someone manage to become a world record holder for the 86 to 90-year-old category in butterfly? On this video, I'll talk about how researching these two things inspired me to make a detailed plan on how and why I plan to swim forever. I present to you the three monsters that we all face when we try to swim forever: Ili, Stage, and Lolo. Why do the pros hate swimming? I was sure that I could defeat the three monsters, but after I graduated, all three attacked at the same time. I didn't have a swim team, I had 2 injured shoulders, and I had no way to continue improving. Suddenly, the Olympic dream was barely visible. I found myself in that gigantic group of ex-swimmers who hate even the sight of a swimming pool. I understood that the pool would always be a reminder of what could have been if I tried a little harder. Fortunately, that feeling didn't last long. I started with the monster Ili. This is where my investigation of the human body began. It has been 10 years and I think it will never end. For now, I think I have found the best solutions for certain knee and shoulder problems. I started reading about 20 studies on swimming injuries. Depending on the sample, it has been found that 4 to 46% of swimmers have been injured because of swimming. Statistically, the faster and longer they swim, the more likely they are to develop an injury. According to this study, up to 91% of competitive swimmers have some sort of shoulder pain. By far, the most common injury is what many doctors call swimmer's shoulder. In other words, an injury in some part of the rotator cuff. The famous rotator cuff consists of a group of muscles and tendons in this part of the arm. The second most common injury is in the knee. According to my research, those two injuries are preventable most of the time, but the way to prevent them is not very well known. I spent the last 2 years of my college swimming career with rotator cuff injuries. The pain varied depending on the intensity of the week. I think about it now, and swimming with an injury sounds reckless, but it is very normal among swimmers. You cannot stop swimming because the season lasts almost all year. You also can't afford not to swim when the school is giving you money to swim. I received treatment for my shoulder. It got better, but I never quite understood what caused the pain. After a few weeks, I would get injured again. Sometimes I injured one tendon, other times another. So I kept swimming, ignoring the pain until I finished the university. The monster Ili was difficult to defeat. I wanted to keep swimming, but the pain didn't help. Pain or discomfort? Many people think that once you have an injury, the joint will never be as strong. Luckily, I've never believed that myth. I believe it even less with what I know now. Physical pain and emotional pain are almost the same to the brain. With physical pain, your body sends a signal from the damaged area. With emotional pain, you feel hurt, but your body doesn't know where the pain is coming from. Being injured hurts physically and emotionally, specifically if you can't move the way you want. When I found the solution to my shoulder injuries, I was very happy. The details of the solution do matter, but they change from injury to injury. What I can say is that for all my injuries, physical and emotional, painless movement has been the solution. Most of the time, the body heals itself. Movement speeds recovery if you don't force it to the point of causing more pain. For our nomadic ancestors, movement without pain was walking for hours and hours. For our more recent ancestors, work involved a lot of movement. For many modern humans, myself included, working means sitting down, moving only the fingers, the eyes, and the tongue. Today, we call movement exercise. Exercise increases blood flow. The flow of fresh blood increases the temperature, reduces pain, and regenerates the tissue of the body. Exercise is not easy nor comfortable. Exercise requires discomfort. Our bodies are designed to move when necessary and to not move when it is not necessary. In a privileged life, natural instinct makes us move as little as possible. Chronic diseases send us to the doctor. There they tell us that we need to get out of our comfort to sweat, get tired, and have sore muscles to be minimally healthy. Pain and discomfort are two very different things. Discomfort is a mild annoyance, a muscle that is fatigued, lungs working hard, or being embarrassed to be seen in a swimsuit. Pain is sharp and intense. Very often, it can be a problem with a tendon, ligament, or bone. Sometimes, pain is causing someone harm. It is important to know the difference between pain and discomfort. Ignoring pain will cause more pain. The goal should be to seek discomfort while avoiding pain. Balanced body. In 2015, thanks to strengthening, I was able to swim without pain. I liked swimming, but I didn't have enough motivation to swim. Gaining strength felt good. It fixed my shoulder injuries. Getting strong with good technique was the responsible thing to do. People always told me that athletes get injured because of bad technique. It turns out that getting stronger too quickly, even with good technique, can also cause injuries. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's for various reasons. When a load or a resistance is more than what a muscle or connective tissue can handle, it gets injured. When a muscle is stronger than the tendon, it pulls harder than the tendon can handle. Sometimes the muscles and tendons are strong on one side, but not on the other. Muscles accelerate one part of the body. There are opposing muscles that slow down that movement. If the accelerator muscles and the tendons are much stronger than the decelerators, this will eventually cause an injury. That brings us back to Mr. Hayashi's latissimus dorsi muscle. Clearly, swimming works this muscle. His lats seem stronger than the lats of many 20-year-olds. Latissimus dorsi means the broadest muscle of the back, and it is. This muscle helps adduct, internally rotate, and extend the shoulder. It is the ideal muscle to help you move your arm while swimming. When this muscle pulls too hard and or too often, it creates imbalances and shortening of other muscles. Remember I mentioned this study? The main difference they found between healthy and injured swimmers was a shortening of the pectoralis minor. From what I've researched, there are 3 movements that should be mandatory for every swimmer and 1 optional. External shoulder rotations, Powell raise, and trap 3. Perfect technique, speed, load, and rest are very important. By including those 3 exercises in one like this one that stretches and works the pectoralis minor, you'll avoid a lot of shoulder injuries. In 2015, the problem was no longer my shoulder. I started doing heavier and heavier squats. I never missed a leg day until my right knee started hurting. At this point, I already knew lifting with pain was not good, but I was having a lot of fun with my gym buddies. So I continued doing squats until my left knee started to hurt as well. At one point, my knees hurt constantly, even when I was sitting. I went to see about 5 doctors. They all basically said the same thing. I had to stop lifting weights, running, and jumping. If you want to keep exercising, they told me, you need something that won't put too much stress on your knee. They all recommended swimming. Ely, one of the monsters that pulled me out of the water, now pushed me back in. I wasn't mad about that. The problem was that the other 2 were still in there. While looking for painless discomfort to heal my knees in the pool, I was forced to face stage. I knew I wouldn't swim as fast as I did in college. Knowing or feeling that you're not going to improve is painful. Progress is a great feeling. The opposite feels horrible. In swimming, at least 10 years ago, we only prepared for 2 big swimming competitions a year. We didn't know for 8 months if we were getting better or not. We could get an idea from the way we felt in the water, but sometimes it's just an illusion. The problem with swimming is that when you compete, you're not just testing one skill, you're testing a set of skills: reaction time, leg strength, core strength, hypoxic and hypercapnic ability, arm strength, stamina, coordination, mental abilities, nutrition skills, recovery, ankle mobility, turns, to name a few. Let's say you improve 5 of those skills. If the others get worse, then your time will be worse. It is also not good to try to work on all the skills at the same time because it's too much and it gets overwhelming. Improving about 2% per week in your 3 weakest skills is possible, measurable, and ideal. This is probably the most important sentence in the video. Improving 2% on your weakest skills is possible, measurable, and ideal. I know this from my own experience and from others. I spent around 5 years trying to get rid of my knee pain. Swimming helped, but it wasn't enough. The doctor said that I would probably have the pain for the rest of my life. So I did research and found many people with the same problem. Someone from the patellar tendon knee problem community gathered all the possible solutions and shared the best with us. I started doing more or less the right thing to fix it. The problem was that I had no way of knowing how far I was progressing or what my weakest abilities were. Just like in swimming, I went for long periods without noticing improvements. That is stage's favorite time to attack. Stagnation is a powerful demotivator. Then I found these 2 guys. They offered me a way to measure progress with simple numbers. More importantly, they offered me a way to identify my weakest skills. Identifying weaknesses and offering measurable ways to improve is gold for anyone willing to listen. It is the reason our swimming videos get views, and it is also why our camps can be a mental torture for the participants. We call out their weaknesses several times a day for several days, and that is why we have seen incredible results. 2% improvements on your weakest skills per week is the weapon of choice to fight against stage and Ili, but when Lolo attacks, you need a stronger weapon. Finite versus infinite goals. Takashi Hayashi was diagnosed with stomach cancer. He thought it would be the end of his life and his swimming career. He had surgery and it went well, but he thought that he would never swim again. That was until Taisuke Miyazaki started breaking his world records. Taisuke looks young for a 79-year-old. Takashi wouldn't let him win without a good fight. He wouldn't sit still watching Taisuke break his world records. He returned to swimming inspired by his rival. 2 years after his surgery, Takashi broke another world record. Exercising alone without a worthy goal is fine on a good day, but on a bad day, there is nothing to motivate you. Getting better just for the sake of getting better eventually feels empty. At least it did to me since I can remember. I swam faster and faster, but for what? Who was I trying to impress? Who was I helping by swimming faster? Answering those questions is a very personal issue. The competition between Hayashi and Miyazaki helps keep them healthy and motivated. I always believed that winning an Olympic gold medal would inspire younger swimmers. Many swimmers believe that. Phelps wanted to bring swimming to the masses, to transcend the sport, and to show that swimming didn't have to be only popular every 4 years. If you look at the numbers, he accomplished a lot on all 3 of those goals. But what if you're not Phelps? What if you don't even make it to the Olympics? Swimming is not an easy sport. Getting up early, dealing with the cold, not breathing most of the time, pushing the limits of your heart, muscle, and tendons are a necessary discomfort for swimming. Without a worthy goal, it is very difficult to continue. To keep swimming for decades, I figured I needed an infinite goal. I needed other people. From the age of 7 to age 22, I had teammates and coaches who motivated me to continue swimming. If it weren't for them, I would have stopped swimming much sooner. In fact, without them, at 23, I stopped swimming. Without a team, I know I would lose the battle against Lolo. One day, I discovered that I didn't need to win 23 Olympic gold medals to bring swimming to the masses. I didn't need to go to the Olympics to be part of an aquatic community. I just needed to share on the internet what I had learned. The Skills and Talents team and I are motivated to help people around the world live healthier and more exciting lives. And we know that we are just at the beginning of our mission. Now, more than 1 million people, several co-workers, and a training partner motivate me to fight Lolo and keep swimming. How to fight against the three monsters. Takashi Hayashi and Taisuke Miyazaki have been fighting the three monsters for many decades, and their story inspires us to keep fighting. But the three monsters are impossible to kill. All we can do is hold them back. Athletes don't need to die twice. Let's help each other be healthier, stronger, and more motivated. If you want to know why Phelps stopped swimming, click here. See you there. Swim fast.